In this video, I take a look at Goofs from one of my favorite series as a kid, the Bionic Woman. Sometimes Goofs can be funny, and other times they can also change the entire meaning of a scene, if one notices the goof, that is. Remember, finding Goofs in the series doesn't make it bad, it just means it's worth watching enough times to find Goofs in the first place. Who didn't love the Bionic Dog when you were a kid? On Max's first appearance on the episode The Bionic Dog, there's a few Goofs that snuck their way into the action. First, Jaime meets a friend who's driving a beetle bug. She leaves her child in the car with the door open. Well, at first it's closed, then it's open, then it's closed again when the car takes off rolling. Also in this scene, Jaime rolls up her window of her car almost all the way, but not quite, just enough to keep Max in the car while she makes a phone call. Back then, even government agents had to use a payphone occasionally. Throughout the scene, the window goes all the way up and down a little bit, until Max breaks the window to save the kid and the beetle bug, after she knocks it out of gear. Max runs up to the car, he grabs the bumper. Now notice the distance between the bumper and the dog's nose from this frame to this frame, and how the bumper almost seems to move in the dog's mouth. I kind of wonder too if the bumper isn't something softer than metal wrapped in some kind of tin foil, but that's just a guess on my part. I'm sure they didn't want to hurt Max's teeth in real life. I think it's safe to say that in this frame, the bumper is not the one that we saw before attached to the car. In the third season episode, Fembots in Las Vegas, this Fembot named Tammy attacks Jaime. Notice that she's wearing high heels here. Here she is about to attack before the fight goes outside. They knock each other around a little bit. Then the Bionic Woman knocks the Fembot's face right off. So if you've ever threatened to knock someone's face off, this could be what it might look like. Then the fight goes outside. The Fembot then forgets to look both ways. Remember when we said the Fembot was wearing high heels right before the fight? Well, when she gets hit by the car, she suddenly has tennis shoes on. Of course, this is a stunt woman, and you'd expect a stunt woman to do a scene like this. Notice that the Fembot is on fire, her dress is in tatters, it's scorched, it's burnt. You get the drift.
The strange thing is that the wiring has a new type transistor which has only been on the market for the last 6 months.
That's not the only thing that's strange. Well, I guess if they can rebuild the six-man-armed man and the Bionic Woman, they can rebuild the dress as well. This is the original Dr. Franklin, the one who created the Fembots in the first place. I believe at this point he's dead. Taking his place is the young Dr. Franklin. Or is he?
You know what's happening?
Of course I do.
Well, the Bionic Woman and the young Dr. Franklin get in a big fight at the end. It turns out that the young Dr. Franklin isn't really the young Dr. Franklin. Well, if you don't want to know, I mean this is a really old spoiler, but yeah, this is a spoiler. He turns out to be a Fembot. Well, not a Fembot because he's a guy, so he's a robot.
Now do you see?
Don't worry, I'm getting to the goof, but first they have to have this big fight. Which leads to young Dr. Franklin falling from a very, 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 very high height. The fall was so great, the impact was so much, that apparently it turned them into a mannequin.
You know what's happening?
Here's a neat disappearing act. In the third season episode The Pyramid, Chris Williams places Jaime in a car seconds before Max, the Bionic Dog, runs up and jumps into the vehicle, where Chris appears to have vanished for a second, and then the car door looks closed, but just for a second, and there he is again. And the door's back open too. In the episode, The Martians Are Coming, The Martians Are Coming, no, not that Martian, but that would have been totally awesome. The goof comes when Jaime Sommers is being chased by a UFO. As it gets closer and closer, it gets a little too close and it gets ahead of her, but really it's supposed to still be behind her. It's kind of weird. Keep in mind this thing is actually a helicopter that's in disguise as a UFO. Of course, if it actually got in front of her, it'd be much larger on the screen. But then she picks up a rock and throws it at it. At first it looks normal. Notice as the rock turns in the air like a rock would if you actually threw it in the air. Then right before it hits the UFO/helicopter, it just looks like a picture of a rock that's moving across the screen. Not rotating or anything like a rock would normally do. In the third season episode Deadly Music, the Bionic Woman has a underwater adventure.
And look over here. I found one of the markers.
I'll go get the steel rods.
I hate to say it, but I don't think it's humanly possible to talk that clear underwater with a tube in your mouth. I think it'd have to be a full face mask in order for them to be able to communicate as effectively as they are in this situation.
Roger, Temple. We read you loud and clear.
A little later in the episode, Jaime gets attacked by a shark. But how did the yellow rope get on the shark's tail like that? It wasn't on there a second ago. While the Bionic Woman never dealt with time travel per se, in this scene from the episode Long Live the King, there seems to be some kind of wonky time jump involving Oscar. Notice he's putting his gun into his holster in this part of the scene. Then he walks over to Jaime, and for some reason, he's putting his gun into his holster again, as if he had never done it. The second season episode, The Night Demon, has a sort of a Scooby-Doo vibe going on, as Jaime discovers an empty monster costume she later wears herself to scare the same crooks that were using it before in earlier scenes. Keep in mind, Jaime herself wears this costume later, so we know it's empty right now, or it's supposed to be. But if you look carefully, you can see the creature's eyes are actually moving. Now that's spooky.
Somebody's playing games.
In the episode Jaime's Shield, the Bionic Woman is in pursuit of criminal types when the police cause her to wreck the truck she's driving. The weird thing is, the truck is on fire, and there's a dude standing behind the truck like it's no big deal. See him on the very right in sort of a bluish shirt. I sure hope he got out of there. Now let's go back a little farther to the 6 Million Dollar Man Bionic Woman Part 2 episode. In this one you'll notice that the 6 Million Dollar Man and Bionic Woman are jumping over a fence, but there's a ladder over to the left, or your left, which they use to jump over with. And that's according to commentary from Kenneth Johnson, the writer of this episode. In the episode Welcome Home, Jaime, the Bionic Woman tears a phone book in two in order to scare her class into behavior. I honestly never thought of this as a kid, but I don't really think it would be possible considering Jaime only has one super strong bionic arm. Now Superman I could believe. As you'll recall, George Reeves did this trick years before in the 1950s. The Bionic Woman and the 6 Million Dollar Man may have also borrowed another trick, and that is reversing the film from a leap down to make it appear the hero is leaping up to greater heights. On this trick, they give Lindsay a can lid covered over with tinfoil to enable her to cut it with her thumbnail. Sure, I know you probably wouldn't have noticed this on an old TV, but it's interesting at least to figure out how they did things. In the same episode, when Steve and Jaime are on the phone, you hear the sound of them hanging up, but neither one of them has yet.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Now watch what happens to this signpost when Jaime pulls it out of the ground and uses it as a weapon. It seems to change constantly. The sign on the pole disappears, and then it comes back again. In the episode Jaime's Mother, Oscar seems to be a bit confused.
Hello.
Jaime, I've been trying to reach you. Where are you?
Now Oscar, shouldn't you know where she's at since you're the one that called her? Well, before you go, please check out all the other videos on TV Crazy Man channel. I got a lot of stuff on the 6 Million Dollar Man and a lot of other TV superheroes from the 70s, the 80s, the 60s, even the 50s. A lot of cool stuff from classic television's past. And have a great day. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like, comment. Let me know what you think because that's very important. I really want to know what you think about the video. It helps me making future videos. Yeah, I'll have a great day.